And now to a CNN exclusive. It has been weeks since those riots erupted in Baltimore after the death of Freddie Gray. It has also been the city's deadliest month in 42 years. So we wanted to get some perspective from people we haven't heard from throughout all of this. The people protecting the community on the ground, police officers. I sat down with two current officers just this morning in Maryland. Their identities are concealed. They talked to me about everything from the arrest of 6 of their colleagues to how they cannot properly do their jobs. Here's a piece of that. Since the riots, Baltimore has had the deadliest month in the city's history in 42 years. I was just reading the paper this morning. A 16-year-old died. Over the weekend, an 8- and a 10-year-old shot. Why is this happening?
Because the criminal element feels as though that we're not going to run the risk of chasing them if they are armed with a gun, and they're using this opportunity to settle old beef or scores with people that they have conflict with. I think the public really sees that they ask for a softer, less aggressive police department, and we've given them that. And now they're realizing that their way of thinking does not work.
Are the criminals right in thinking that you all will not arrest people as you would before?
You have to run the risk of, you have to look at it like, if I chase this guy who possibly has a gun and he gets hit by a car, will I be charged with criminal negligence for chasing a possible armed suspect that I did not see the gun? That roll of the dice is greater than me just riding to the next call and writing a report. So these are the things that we have to weigh when we're riding past a group of guys on the corner. And we can't make that decision because we run the risk of being criminally charged.
So there are additional conversations you're having almost with yourself in your head as far as whether or not you want to pursue. Is it because you don't want to be wrongfully, your word, charged, or is it because the they you reference, those above your pay grade, are wanting this softer, more gentle police department? Which is it?
Well, we believe that there are outside influences such as the activists that request a softer police department. Some of the citizens requested a softer police department, and now they have the softer police department. It's like, I mean, we've survived through.
But you took an oath to serve and protect.
We've survived through commissioners changing the color of our cars to be a light blue color to appeal to the public, and everybody wants officer friendly, but we respond to people's situations and we encounter people while they're at their worst. The worst thing that could have ever happened to a person, we respond to and see. And we understand that these are not our problems. We're coming to solve problems and help. You know, whenever there's a call for someone firing a gun every day, our officers respond with the same amount of vigor that they've always done, even before Freddie Gray.
So then what's different?
Well, what's different is the proactive, self-initiated policing has stopped.
We're now in a reactive mode.
We're in a total reactive mode.
And this is the result that you get. And ultimately, it does a disservice to the law-abiding citizens. It does a disservice to the business owners. It does a disservice to everybody except the criminal element, because they are in their glory right now. They know that pretty much the whole police department has shifted all to a reactive side. You know, you have no more initiated stops per se. You know, an officer is worried. He's riding down the street, even though you have a reasonable suspicion, and you see, you know, a guy or girl walking down the street, and there's a bulge coming in from their waistband, and there's different characteristics that we are trained for to look for an armed person. And I can tell you this, and it's the truth. 9 out of 10 times that officer is going to keep on driving.
I understand the desire to self-protect, but at the same time I'm thinking, if I am a resident of the city of Baltimore, I'm sitting here watching you all and thinking, this is not okay.
You're right, it's not. but we need the public's help, and that's the element right now that's going to be able to fix this, because the people on our side do not have our backs.
You're both fathers, I can say that, and you know, here you are, you're risking your lives each and every day. You have taken this oath to serve and protect. Do you, though, think that sometimes some officers abuse that privilege?
I think that if someone abuses that privilege, then they need to be charged, and you know, we need to get rid of them. We don't want that negative stigma.
But does it exist? I mean, obviously we're not naming names here, but you work with a lot of officers in Baltimore.
The thing of it is, it's every profession you have, it exists.
Take me back to the riots, to the cars and the buildings on fire, and the CBS being looted there at Penn North, and the mall. What happened? Were you at all told to stand down?
That call would have had to have come from someone of higher rank. As far as the low-level officers like we are, we were told to not engage. When I say not engage, to allow the people to throw whatever items were being thrown at us, and just hold the line. That was the one thing we kept hearing all day. Hold the line. So wherever the line moved to, that's what we did.
What does that mean?
Just stand pat. Hold the line. Don't move. Don't give up any ground. Don't back up.
But don't engage.
Don't engage.
Is that what the academy trained you? Is that what your gut instinct told you to do as well? Or were you having to hold back? You didn't want to hold back, but you were being told from up the chain to hold back.
I think if they would have just allowed us to get the perpetrators that were instigating it, it would have de-escalated a whole lot quicker.
Did that make you angry?
No. We were scared.
You were scared?
Absolutely.
What were you scared of?
Getting hit with a brick, and possibly, I mean, we've seen people in our profession hit with objects and never recover, or become vegetables, or die. So, and you know, when people say rocks, you know, you think of pebbles that you throw and skip across water. No, we're talking broken pieces of center block, broken bricks with, you know, a quarter of a brick was being thrown at a time, softball-sized pieces of brick that were coming towards us.
I guess the biggest issue is that, you know, the upper command had advised even the officers, you know, to leave our protective equipment inside the vehicles.
Do you feel like the community in Baltimore respects you?
Yes, and for the most part, the citizens that are law-abiding citizens, they're begging for help from the police, especially now, because they know what's going on. Normal person, it's obvious that there's a slowdown in police response. The officers are afraid to do things because you have a state's attorney right now that's unpredictable. You know, you don't know what she's going to do. When she came out with the statement, when the 6 officers were charged, she already convicted them in a public view. They have been tried and convicted in public opinion. Now everything, you know, the gag orders are trying to come out to keep the autopsy reports from coming out, and keep their attorneys from speaking and the officers from speaking, and you know, it's too late for that.
She stood there, I was there, at the steps of the War Memorial, and, you know, talked about how she comes from this law enforcement background, this law enforcement family up in Massachusetts. But she also did take a moment after she announced the charges. She took a moment to talk to the protesters in her city streets. Did you see that?
Yes.
What did you make of Marilyn Mosby that day?
I thought that that was a campaign speech, and that was conduct that a impartial attorney. She's not Freddie Gray's lawyer. She's the lawyer for the people. And that campaign speech, the election is over. She already won the election.
Moving forward, do you feel like the state's attorney, do you feel like Marilyn Mosby has your backs?
No, definitely not.
No,
Do you feel like Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake has your backs?
she has never had our back.
She's never had your backs.
No,
Is being an officer still worth it to you?
every day it is. Because people still need our help. Public still need us. We're not quitting. We're not quitting on our city. We're just not.
I agree. I mean, ever since I was a child, I love the job. It's my life. I shouldn't even say it's a job, because when you become a police for the right reasons, it's not a job, it's your life. It becomes part of you, becomes part of your family.
Your biggest fear isn't getting shot these days, it's getting hauled off to jail. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Yes.
For the wrong reasons, that's the thing. I have no problem if you take advantage of your position and of your authority and of your job and you abuse it. You definitely deserve to be placed along the side with the criminal element. But when you do good things in good faith and you try to protect people and do what's instilled in you, not even training wise, but what's humanly instilled in you, and then you are prosecuted for that because of like I said, a political agenda of somebody else's gain that's willing to sacrifice innocent lives, then there's something definitely wrong with that. And I can tell you this, I don't know how many cops' families that I've spoken with, including my own family, that they were saying, you need to get out of law enforcement. You need to get out of the police department. It's, what do you want to do? You want to get visitors through a phone through a jail cell wall because of you doing your job? And like I said, I mean, I have hundreds of friends that are police officers of mine. A lot of them are very close to me, almost like family, that we keep in constant touch with, that our spouses talk. And the topic of the conversation right now, that has been for the last month or two, especially between spouses, is, hey, I'm worried for him to go to work, And they're not talking about they're worried because we're going to end up getting shot or get into a motor vehicle accident at work, or they're worried about the people that are on our side to steamroll over us, because, if something does go wrong, you have nowhere to turn.
My big last question, what would your message be to the community, many of whom appreciate that there are excellent officers, some of whom are extraordinarily skeptical of you all as well? What would you want to tell the community, to tell Baltimore?
We're not giving up, and whatever it takes, somehow we're going to make it out of this. And just to let the citizens know, when you dial 911, there will be police that will show up. It's, there's perception right now that, we're on a police slowdown, or what's commonly called in law enforcement the blue flu and all. It's not. We took an oath, and the guys and the girls that are there for the right reasons are not going to stop. Whether we're going to step up proactive policing 100%, I can't promise that, because that's...
Ever?
No, not ever. And I just, at this point in time, I wouldn't feel confident saying that, hey, we're going to be out there just like we were 6 months ago, doing everything. It's not going to happen. It's going to take time for recovery.